Kanye West, I believe you. Slavery is a choice. Not only is it just a choice, but slavery is a fucking lie. It's a lie, it's an illusion. And most of the stuff that we've been taught about slavery is a lie. Like how they took hundreds of Africans at a time and put us all on this boat or these boats or whatever and brought us over here. Once you get to thinking about that and really asking yourself, like, well, how did they do this? How did they do that? You'll realize that it was all a fucking lie. Now, I know they brought some of us over here. And one of the proofs that they have is that Amistad, right? Now, were there hundreds of people on that Amistad? How many people were actually documented to be on that boat? And then these people spoke like 30 or 40 different languages, and it wasn't as many people as they claim that they have on boats at a time. Now, they claim that they had like 400 to 700 people. This is what I read in my history books, that well, in their history books, that it was like 400 to 700 slaves at a time, and these conditions were so bad, like a lot of them died. Like, why would y'all even do that? If I'm a driver, okay, I've driven trucks, and I know that there's a certain way you're supposed to secure your cargo if you want to make the money that you stand to make with the product that you have. So why would they put us in conditions, first of all, that would basically kill most of the money that they're gonna make off of us? All right. And then I thought about, are they using the same boats over and over again? Because if they're not cleaning our feces and they're not clean, so they're putting new slaves on the same boat with all of these, like, and then how many boats were there? You know what I mean? Like, they even found the Titanic. You know what I mean? At some point. So, like, I mean, I'm thinking if y'all took millions of slaves, it's got to be like hundreds of different boats and stuff like that y'all use. Even if there were 10 boats, let me see wreckage or some kind of proof that y'all even had 10 slave ships that brought hundreds of people, that could fit hundreds of people over here. This is stuff that y'all been trying to paint in our heads like we so fucking stupid, like we supposed to just believe any old thing. And I'm really just like, I don't, it doesn't make sense. So now, okay, and I think they knew that at some point we were going to be like, okay, well, if it's 400 to 700 people and y'all just stealing all these folks at a time, then like niggas is smart. Like, I'm sorry, well, we gonna run. So y'all, how long did it take for y'all to collect 400 to 700 people off of the west coast of Africa? How long did it take? I mean, was it hours? Was it days? You know, at some point, one niggas just running away. So none of that made sense, that you gonna catch a wild nigga, like you can catch a wild African, right? And just like, come on, man. And then hundreds of us. So, I mean, what were they doing with the rest of them on the boat while they captured, the ones that they were trying? Okay, so you fill up this whole boat. Let's just say it took you, I don't know, some days or whatever the fuck, right? So now you having to feed these folks that you bought. And white folks, I know that y'all didn't have the money. When y'all was in Europe, y'all didn't have the money really to feed yourselves when y'all was coming from Europe over to America. So that doesn't make any sense that y'all got enough money to feed 400 to 700 people. Even if you fed them the bare minimum, you talking about hundreds of people. Like, and then you talking about you fed them slop. Well, where did you get the slop from? Because the only people that was really eating slop was in Europe. But you claim you going from Africa where they got all nice fruits and vegetables and, wherever the fuck. And then you going all the way to America, which also has good food, corn and whatever the hell else Native Americans have, which is really what I'm trying to tell y'all. Most black people came from. We're mostly from America, and they're trying to lie to us. Okay, so I feel like at some point, white folks was probably like, okay, well, they gonna ask us about this, how we get all of these Africans, on one boat at one time. So, we'll just lie to them and tell them that it was kings in Africa that helped us or whatever. We just bought y'all from each other or whatever. Like, okay, well, what does y'all stand to give us? What do we stand to get in return for all of these slaves? Well, they claim that they sold us for guns, or they bought us for guns, right? Or that, Africans sold us for guns. And I'm like, okay, well, at some point, ain't we shooting Europeans? If they came over here for hundreds of years, I mean, just think about how long that would take. Y'all claim that y'all had the slave trade going on for like 200-300 years, that y'all was going to steal people and buy people from Africa. I mean, that's millions of people. At some point, I mean, I know me, I'm gonna stop going to the west coast of Africa. Like, hell, they stealing niggas over there. So you telling me for hundreds of years, y'all just kept picking up niggas from the same spot, right? It just doesn't make any sense. So, okay, right, y'all got people that helped y'all, right? Where are the Africans that are, is that in their history too? That at some point they sold us? Because now I want to know the history, because I learned a lot of Chinese or, their history and, Japanese and all of this stuff. So at what point does Africa have it in their history that they sold their own people? And even if they did sell their own people, right? Okay, so who's got hundreds of people and over, at a time? Every time y'all come with a boat, how many boats and how often are these boats going back and forth? And it just doesn't make any sense. Like, y'all just, okay, so like I said, I'm trying to, just go on with this. If we spoke 30 to 40 different languages, it makes more sense to me that they've been stealing us and been collecting us from all different parts of Africa, and then finally getting us to this boat, And I also believe that they were lying, probably about what the whole boat was about. I think that they lured us on that boat with promises of, like, I don't know, money, riches, a party or some shit. And I think it was Martin Lawrence that said on there, white folks told us it was a party on a boat. We got on the wrong boat and all ended up here. Like, they had to have lied. Just like they lying to get people to take this vaccine. It's all some setup for whatever other agenda that they have. But I believe that the main reason why they don't want us to know where we really came from is because they want us to believe that nobody's really American, that they killed off all the Americans. Oh, that sounds familiar. It sounds like Jesus, the story of Jesus. We killed Jesus and he didn't have no kids. So hell, he was the only one that was perfect and nobody else could be perfect, but just keep trying to be like Jesus. Like, come on, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing all of this shit up or whatever, but it just sounds like some more lies. Like I said, just lies that they tell slaves. There's no way it was all these millions of people. And then we steady reproducing, right? Black folks steady making babies. We steady having more kids. So at some point, why would you even need to keep going back and forth? But y'all want us to believe that we was just that broke down and that closed minded. Like, if y'all can't. And then, okay, another thing I got, another question I have. How many Europeans were there as a ratio or whatever? How many Europeans to Africans were there on one boat? Well, y'all just had all of this power and we just didn't have no power to overtake y'all at all, right? Hundreds of people on this boat. There wasn't even hundreds of people on the Amistad. I don't believe it was like, not even, the books that I read, they said somewhere in between 400 and 700 slaves at a time. And there were not even half of 400 slaves that were documented on the Amistad, which was like a true story. That was a real thing. And that was people that were born from, like I said, different parts of the continent, which is another thing that I get irritated about. Y'all call us Africans or whatever. Like, hell, if that's the case, if we're just all Africans, that means everybody here is American. That means that Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, we're all Americans too. They're all Native Americans as well, not just the people that you found in the United States. Because you cannot take the entire Western Hemisphere and call it America. All these are the Americas, and then say nobody that was born there can call themselves American. You know why they do that? Is because they can't call themselves American. If you ask the average white person, I want you to ask 3 white people today, where are your grandparents from? I can almost guarantee you they will not say any part of America. They will say somewhere in Europe. My grandfather is from, I don't know, wherever the fuck, Polish or Irish or wherever the hell. So they take this little bitty country, what they call a continent of Europe, and they break it up into all these different, tiny little colonies or whatever. And they like, oh, well, the Italian got their own thing. And then, the British, they got their own. Like, so, okay, then you take the entire continent of Africa and say everybody there is just African. Really? Come on, man. Y'all didn't, and I want to know, how did they even get past, if it was hundreds of people, right? At some point, you're going to find, hundreds of people at a time, right? You going and you collecting all of these black folks at a time for hundreds of years. At some point, black folks going to get hip to that shit, right? Like, okay, well, you done sold them all of these guns. That's another thing. Like, how many guns? How many guns per people? Like, that's a lot of guns. You got millions of people. So how many guns does Africa have now? Because they done sold all of these slaves to y'all for guns, right? For guns. So at some point, we ain't got to sell our own people no more, right? If that's really the case, which I really don't believe that. I really don't. But, like I said, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just say they did. At some point, you got guns. You got enough guns to shoot white people. So why we ain't shoot them? It should be a lot of dead white bodies on the west coast of Africa from them just trying to get slaves. from them just trying to capture us or whatever the fuck. At some point, like, come on, this is my own land. And I know, like, come on, like, I know me as a, specific person, there's certain Walmarts I won't go to because there's too much bullshit that's going on there. So you mean to tell me for all of these years, motherfuckers been getting picked up? Like, well, black folks too smart for that. We way too smart for that. We way too smart to keep believing this bullshit. But they want you to believe that you're not from here. And then when we ask for the documents, right? They talking about, well, all Africans, everybody that we got from Africa, we're going to give y'all 40 acres and a mule. But then when it comes to them actually finding the documents, they don't have the documents. You know why they don't have the documents? Because they're not there. They are not there. And then they try to say, oh, well, we weren't the only ones that have slaves. It was Native Americans. They owned slaves too. The Native Americans were slaves. And they try to lie and tell us that, or we killed off most of the Native Americans. We gave them SARS. We gave them this. I'm telling you, just like on the Eastern Hemisphere, there are all these different colors of people, right? Black, white, Chinese, all that, whatever colors of people, whatever, I don't care what ethnicities or so-called they are, but as far as the color, like, it's all types of people everywhere on the Eastern Coast. So you mean to tell me it wasn't all different colored people here? They try to put this, I want to say, white egg or white onion or white rice, you know what I'm saying, or green cabbage or red tomato shit in your face. Like, this is the only color that there is here. This is what you have. And then you discover, oh, damn, there's brown eggs. Oh, wow, they're purple onions. You know what I mean? Things like that. So they make us believe in our head that this was only one type of person or people that were here. And we killed off most of them. I'm telling you, that's not true. That's not true, because if most of y'all die, if most Native Americans die, then black folks even know. I got Indian in my family. I got my such and such as part Cherokee. Bitch, all y'all from America. All y'all from America. Ask the average white person, like I said, where their grandparents came from. And then ask any black person where their grandparents came from. Hell, ask them where their great-grandparents came from. I know my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, great-great-great-great. As far as you want to fucking go back, I bet you they from here. But y'all don't want to give us our free tax. Y'all don't want to give us our land. We shouldn't be having to pay for no taxes. We shouldn't pay for shit. But they don't want us to have an identity at all. And I'm telling you, the only way, it was trafficking. They've been trafficking people for the same way that they traffic people now. And there's no way that this was some big international thing. I'm going to tell you, this is another reason why I don't believe it was a big international thing. Think about it. Everybody copies America right now. Everything that America does, everybody catches on to. And if it was this big lucrative industry like they claim that it is, then how come it didn't catch on with other countries? How come other continents and other places weren't doing this so-called slave trade? No, I don't believe that. I believe a lot of so-called, Africans, I believe we came from, as far as, the further south you go, right? The darker the people are, right? I believe a lot of us came from South America. I believe they were stealing people from South America and going right up the coast of the Americas, all the way up to, all the way up to where Europe is. All the way up to where where America is. I believe that's what really happened. Damn, this thing coming off of here. I don't give a shit. Y'all see. Y'all know what the fuck going on. Yeah, though, black people, most people that claim are African, we really came from way, way south. And if you think about it, that's why they got all these beautiful resorts down there. They done cleared off so many. If millions of people had disappeared from Africa, white people would set up shop in Africa by now, right? If millions of people really came from Africa and okay, yeah, that's better. Yeah, if millions of people really came from Africa over these hundreds of years, like white people would not have set up shop in South Africa. They would have set up shop right on the West Coast, because hell, that's where they making all their money at, right? They would have set up shop on the West Coast of Africa. Ain't no white folks on the West Coast of Africa. They know better than that. They know better than that. They had to go all the way south. I'm telling you, black folks, we came from South America, from way, way south. And this is where they kept picking people up and stealing us. A few of us came from over in Africa. I'm pretty sure they did do that. I'm sure it was hundreds, maybe even thousands, but it wasn't no millions. And we weren't sold. or given to Europe by our so-called own people. This was a lie. This was another lie that they trying to tell us to get us to dislike each other. You know what I mean? Like, well, they sold us to this, and that. Come on, man. Where's their money at? Where's all these guns at the Africa? How come Africa still don't have their weaponry or whatever the fuck? How come where's their defense system? You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure just them being black is enough. Like, white folks ain't gonna go over there doing that shit. They gotta give them AIDS. They've been trying to get the continent of Africa for a long time because they want what's under the ground. They want what's underneath it. They want them tombstones. They want those relics. They want all of those things that we held as power. They want all the things that we put our energy into and turned them into whatever kind of Ark of the Covenants that we wanted them to be. But honestly, the power is inside of us. And they realize that now. These same relics that they've been stealing, not really giving them the power. Because I'm telling you the truth right now. All the lies that they've been trying to tell us for all of these years, man, it's just being exposed. It's being exposed. And I got other stuff that I'm going to tell y'all about. But this is my first thing, though. We need to stop believing that that we've been slaves for hundreds of years and that we came over from some west coast of Africa and that this is not our home. This is our home. This is exactly where we come from. White folks are not that powerful. They're not that smart. And the same thing that I said on September 11, 2001 in my school and at my home before I went to school, they're lying. They're lying. I don't know how they're lying, but I know they're lying. And, at some point I figured it out, but that's neither here nor there. But just know that I was 18 years old. I knew before all of these Fahrenheit 9/11s, before all this other documentary crap, I knew from the jump. I know motherfuckers lying to me. And like I said, we'll figure it out. As some people, we're going to figure this shit out. But just know that this is your land. This is our land. Most of us did not come from Africa. A lot of us did. Don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't be looking for that 23andMe shit. Don't believe these white folks when they tell you where the hell they got you from. You came from right here. And I'm pretty sure they stole a lot of children. And I'm pretty sure they raped those children. I'm pretty sure they brainwashed those children just like they're doing now. That's why my kids are homeschooled. They have been for a very long time, way before this corona shit. I've been on my bullshit. So I just want y'all to just wake up. Just wake up, please, and realize that these white folks been lying. You know where you came from, then you can see better off where you going. But yeah. I mean, like I said, if I'm wrong, prove it. Prove to me. Show me all of these different, and don't just show me some reconstructed bullshit slave ship that you got in an art museum somewhere. Show me all of these slaves. I mean, they should reek. They should reek of piss and feces and just like, come on, and you just gonna keep putting new slaves in there every time, right? I know y'all ain't steady building new ships, because most white folks, y'all didn't even build the ships. Y'all got them ships built probably from Africans. But it was some book that I read many years ago that this old Native American said the first European that he ever saw get off the boat was a Negro. So I just want y'all to understand as Negroes, and I don't mean like just as whatever, negative term they try to, I'm talking about just people with brown skin. Just understand that this is where y'all came from. And if y'all came over here from Africa, then I'm pretty sure you did, but you still ain't gonna get nothing for it. Okay, I'm going too far.